Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, General Hospital Diaries. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Willow Corinthos stands at an emotional crossroads, and the entire hospital seems to feel the tension rising around her. The day that was supposed to bring clarity has only made her more conflicted, and with every passing hour the pressure builds. The invitations have gone out, the dress is ready, and the guests are preparing for what they believe will be a joyful ceremony. But for Willow, this wedding isn't a celebration, it's a choice she's terrified to make. Her heart is tugging in two directions, and the decision she makes now will impact not just her, but the complicated world she's built with the people she loves. She tells herself she should feel lucky. After everything she's survived, after the battles with her health, after the years of chaos, she should feel grounded. She should feel sure. But she doesn't. Because standing across from her is Drew Kane, someone she cares about deeply, someone who stepped into her life at a moment of crisis and gave her the sense of stability she thought she'd never find again. And yet, every time she looks at him, she also feels the shadow of what's been left unresolved. Willow wants to believe that marrying Drew is the right step, that he's the dependable, safe partner she needs. The man who helped her navigate the darkest chapter of her life. The man who has shown her patience, understanding, and unwavering support. But the closer she gets to the altar, the more she realizes that stability and destiny aren't always the same thing. She can't deny the whispers in the back of her mind, the ones reminding her that love can't be built on gratitude alone. And then there's the part of her heart she has tried so hard to silence. The unresolved loyalties, the lingering emotional ties, the fear that she may be running from heartbreak rather than moving toward happiness. Willow has done everything in her power to shove those feelings aside, convincing herself that Drew is the future she should choose, because choosing anything else feels too unpredictable, too overwhelming, too complicated. But on the eve of the wedding, she realizes that pretending certainty is not the same as having it. As Willow sits in her room, staring at her wedding dress, she thinks about the promises she's about to make. Not casual promises, not temporary arrangements, but lifelong vows. And she asks herself a question she's been avoiding. Is she marrying Drew because she wants a life with him, or because she wants to escape the pain of everything that came before? The honesty of that question hits her harder than she expects, leaving her breathless. She cares for Drew, yes. But is she in love with him in the way a marriage requires? Willow feels the guilt crushing her as she pictures Drew waiting at the altar, fully believing she's committed, fully convinced she sees him as her future. Down the hall, Drew senses something is wrong. He wants to believe Willow is simply nervous. Everyone gets pre-wedding jitters, but something about her recent behavior doesn't sit right with him. She's been distant, thoughtful, distracted. He keeps replaying their conversations, how her eyes shift away when he talks about their future, how her smile seems forced when wedding plans come up. Drew reminds himself that they've built something meaningful. He's been her anchor. But even he can't ignore that something has changed. Back in her room, Willow goes over the moments that led to this. The unexpected bond she formed with Drew. The comfort he gave her when she felt alone. The gratitude she felt for his presence in her life. But gratitude isn't passion. It isn't fate. It isn't enough to sustain a marriage through the storms she knows are coming. She sits quietly, pulling in a shaky breath as the realization sinks in. If she walks down that aisle with doubts this deep, she'll be lying, not just to Drew, but to herself. The weight of her indecision grows heavier as she starts imagining the ceremony. She can see the aisle, the flowers, the guests turning as she enters. She can picture Drew's hopeful expression. And she can also imagine the regret that will follow her if she forces herself to go through with it. Willow wants a future built on truth. She wants to feel that unmistakable certainty she once believed was possible. As the clock ticks closer to the ceremony, one question keeps echoing. Is she choosing Drew because she wants him, or because she doesn't know how to step away without breaking his heart? Willow has always tried to do the right thing, to protect others even at the cost of her own happiness. That instinct is powerful, maybe too powerful. She worries that calling off the wedding will make her seem ungrateful, selfish, unsure. But she also knows that marrying someone out of obligation is far worse. She closes her eyes and imagines a life where she forces herself through the vows. Birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, each one tinged with a quiet ache, a reminder that she's settled for comfort instead of love. It's in that moment that Willow finally admits it. She can't be Drew's wife. Not like this. Not with half a heart. Not with doubts she can't shake. But admitting this truth doesn't make the decision any easier. She knows that calling off the ceremony will create shockwaves. People will ask questions, take sides, and question her loyalty. She knows Drew will be hurt. And she hates the idea of hurting him more than anything. But the cost of silence would be even greater. As Willow stands and looks at herself in the mirror, she barely recognizes the bride staring back. She sees the conflict in her eyes, the hesitation in her posture. That's not how a bride should look on her wedding day. She realizes she must confront the truth before the ceremony begins. The room suddenly feels too quiet, too heavy, and every second she waits makes her heart pound harder. Drew, meanwhile, waits downstairs in his suit, trying to ignore the gnawing feeling in his chest. He tells himself that Willow loves him, that this day is the right step. But even he can't help replaying their recent conversations, the careful distance she's kept, the softness in her voice when she seems lost in her own thoughts. Deep down, Drew fears he may already know what's coming. But he's not ready to accept it. Just before the wedding is set to begin, Willow takes a deep breath and heads toward Drew. Her footsteps are slow, heavy, deliberate. She knows that the next few minutes will change everything. She finds him alone, adjusting his tie, trying to calm his nerves. When he turns and sees her expression, understanding flickers in his eyes before she even speaks. Willow feels her throat tighten. She tells him the truth. All of it. That she cares for him deeply, that he means more to her than he knows, but that she cannot marry him. Not today, not like this. She explains the doubts she's been fighting, the feelings she can't ignore, the fear of hurting him by choosing honesty at the last second. Her voice trembles, but she forces the words out, knowing that silence would be worse. Drew's reaction is quiet at first. He breathes in slowly, his expression a mix of hurt and acceptance. The disappointment is unmistakable, but so is the compassion. Even though Willow's decision stings, Drew cares enough to recognize that forced vows would only lead to long-term pain for both of them. He asks her if she's certain, and when she nods, he finally lets out the breath he's been holding. The ceremony is called off. Guests murmur in shock. Questions swirl across the room. But for Willow, a sense of clarity finally settles over her. Not relief, she doesn't feel that yet, but clarity. She has chosen honesty. She has chosen not to settle. And even though she doesn't know what comes next, she knows she made the right decision. As for Drew, he walks away with a broken heart but also a deeper understanding. He loved Willow enough to let her go rather than hold her to a promise she wasn't ready to make. And whether he admits it or not, part of him sensed this moment long before it happened. This isn't the end for either of them. It's a turning point. Willow has stepped into a future filled with uncertainty, but also possibility. And Drew, hurt but dignified, may eventually find a path that brings him the kind of love he deserves. What matters now is that Willow didn't walk down the aisle with doubts. She didn't bind herself to a life that wasn't built on the truth of her heart. And in Port Charles, that honesty might prove more important than any wedding vow she could have spoken. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.